Season 2, you know what that means. New season, new builds. Let's tweak it. If you have not seen my videos on Season 2 and all the changes that are going down, make sure you go check those out before you get to this. Otherwise, some things might not be as clear as you think. Obviously, there's the Ruby level, there's the Amethyst level, but they do not operate as they previously have done. So you need to go check that video out before you do this one. As always, I'm going to do all the builds. I'm going to start off with my primary, which is my Magician. I have it right where I want it for the season. Then we're going to jump into Technician. Then we're going to do Sculptor. Then we're going to go Powerhouse. And then we're going to go Greenskeeper. We're going to do all 5 of them for Season 2. And we're going to go one by one. So make sure you are liked. Make sure you subscribe. Pass this video around. Let's dive on into it today. And if you have not seen it already, I've already covered this in a separate video. But this is PGA2KLab.com. This is a site that somebody created so that way you can mess around in here and see everything that you need to see. This is obviously my Magician build, so you click on Magician, and let me just give you a quick rundown of what you're going to pay attention to. The reason why I'm doing it in here is the season just dropped. I know how I want my build to be, but it's going to take a little bit of time for me to get it there, so I have to do it this way. So that way I want to show you guys just like everything with the fittings, but it's going to take some time to get everything up to the Amethyst level. I am making this build at the Amethyst level. So if you are not there yet, don't worry. Just build it so that way when you get there, you are ready to rock. When you're looking at this, what we're looking at here, so this number here is the base number. So this is the number at which you're going to set your attributes at. This number here is your fitting number. For instance, it gets up to like 6 here, so this would be 1 fitting. You can see the base is 84, so that's where you'd put your attribute at. 6 is the fitting, and then your total would finish at 90 for this build. So that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use this builder for everything, so that way we can make it easy, clean, and understandable for everybody. All right, now let's dive on into it. Here is the build. What we're doing is we're going 75 with the power. That's going to give us a 79 contact, and this is higher than I've done in previous builds. Now, why is that? There's going to be a video coming out this week about power and how it affects spin to golf shots. It is a massive difference between 40 overall power, 60 overall power, 80 overall power, and being able to stop the ball quickly with wedges and even high irons. So the higher the power, the better and faster, the closer you can hit to flags, because you know the ball is going to spin, especially at the higher difficulties when they really crank up the speeds of the greens. You need spin. So we need to add more power. That's something that previous builds I did not take advantage of, but now I am taking advantage of that. People usually only relate power to driving and how far you can hit it, but it also plays a major effect in the ball not rolling out and you spinning and hitting the ball closer to your numbers. One of the reasons why I also refuse to do a video on rollout, because depending on how much power you have, the rollouts will always be different. All right, next up, path. I have no issues with correction at 53, and then my path is 82. And don't worry, we are going to get to the fittings. That's going to be just a separate after we do this base stuff. So max out swing path still, that does not change. If you are somebody who does struggle with correction, I highly recommend moving over to the Sculptor build. If you move over to the Sculptor build, your base feature will start off with a 70, and you'll be able to get pretty much everything that I have here with the Magician build, except everything might be just like 1 or 2 attributes a little bit lower in certain categories. Stay tuned for that build. Do not forget to like and subscribe so that way you see when we drop that one for the Sculptor build. But max out swing path. When it comes down to shaping recovery, previously I've recommended 99 recovery, but I have actually tuned that down to an 85. Now, why have I done that? If you've known and you've seen the videos that I've seen, recovery and transition are 2 of the biggest factors that have been tuned for this season. If you're in a bad spot in the rough, you're more penalizing. If you're transition, definitely more penalizing on partial swings. You have to adjust for those things. Now, I would highly recommend 99, and you have to ask yourself, like I said previously, are you a shaper or are you not a shaper? If you aren't a shaper, then max out your recovery. But when you play at higher levels and more difficulty shots, You have to hit around trees off of tee boxes. You have to hit around under trees on certain things. You have to spin the ball a little bit more around the greens. So I need to give myself a little bit of shaping to be able to hit it high over bunkers, low shots under trees, things like that. So 70 is a really good sweet spot for me in the shaping category, and it gives me plenty of recovery where I'm still pretty much able to get up and in. But you can tweak that if you're not really a shaper. Now, when it comes down to rhythm, this has changed a little bit as well. Like I just mentioned, transition is one of the bigger changes, bigger tunings. I love what they've done with transition. I really think that this update is a really good update for gameplay mechanics, and I really like what 2K is doing. They're making it more challenging, and that's what we want. We want a game a little bit more challenging at the higher levels, and we need to make sure all of these values are actually used up. Rhythm, I got it up to a 70. If you guys have seen my video previously, we're going to have to retest it all, but 70 overall is good enough for rhythm. 1% or 2% off in rhythm can be up to between 3 to 6 yards. So that can be a massive, plus or minus towards hitting into the greens. And it's something you need to consider. Now, I don't really struggle with rhythm. That's why I don't go much higher than this. Transition is more important because I'm always hitting partial shots into greens, especially with wedges. So it is something that I think is very important. Putt weight and putt contact. I know this is always a hot topic for debate for my putting stats, but let me just say this as always. If you're somebody who struggles with putt contact, put some putt contact in. If you are somebody who struggles with rhythm, especially at the legendary level, right? Legend is way different than any other level. Rhythm is so much more difficult on the legend than it is on any other level. I don't usually play too much on the legend difficulty, so rhythm isn't too big of a factor for me. Putt path, getting the ball started online and having it go the correct distance is the biggest multiplier for making and missing putts. That is hands down the truth of what I found. It doesn't have to be right because everybody plays the game a little bit different. You can tune these however you actually want. But I don't struggle with rhythm. I played with a 44 rhythm all of season 1. I had no issues. I putt my best with putt weight. I putt my best with putt path, maxed out here. So that's what I'm going with, and that's what I'm sticking with because that's how I putt the best. So this is the base stats: 75, 79, 82, 53, 70, 85, 70, 86, 67, 46, 45, 23. Those are the base stats there. Now let's talk about how I apply my fittings. So I'm going to put this on the side of the screen here. We're going to go by each individual club, and remember, amethyst level, amethyst level. So if you have not seen that video, go check out the video. Otherwise, you're not going to understand why you're not getting +6s across the board. It goes for amethyst level. If you are adding the same fitting across all 5 power, we'll say 5 power fittings, it goes 6, 5, 5, 4, 4. You cannot get +6, +6, +6, +6, +6, adding all of the same fittings onto your clubs. I love that addition to the game. I think it's really good because it makes builds more important rather than everybody just jumbling together. All right, so how do we do fittings? Driver fittings. What we're doing is we're doing 3 power fittings on driver. That's going to be 6 for the first fitting. Then we're going to get reducted 1 point, so it's going to be 5 for the second fitting. And then the third fitting will also be 5. So because we have 3 of them on there at the amethyst level, it'll be 6, 5, and 5. That's going to get my driver power up to a 91 overall. I'll be able to drive the ball 294 yards, which is just about 4 to 5 yards right behind the hardest and longest hitters in the game. And if you have watched me on stream, then you know I'm hitting driver wedge into a lot of these courses. This is a huge factor. The faster you can put wedges in your hand in this game, the lower your scores are going to go. The more greens you can drive in this game, the lower your score is going to go. It's basic science, it's basic math, it's basic data analytics. It's also just basic gaming. The farther you hit it, the closer you can get to the hole. Chip shots are much easier than 180-yard shots. I played on stream the other day on Wednesday. I never hit my 3-wood into most of these greens. Now for this last fitting, so we have 3 fittings right now on power. We have 1 fitting on path. You need to ask yourself a couple of questions here. Test it out and find out which one works for you. If you need a little bit more distance, which I don't think you're going to need, you can go 1 more here and get this up to a 95 overall. You're going to be pretty much 297 driver across. You're going to be hitting it pretty far. But I'm not going to be doing that simply because I don't think I need that extra 2 to 3 yards. I need to figure out, obviously, can I manage a contact at 79? If you can't manage a contact at 79, I highly recommend putting your contact to an 85 because that's where I'm going to go. I want to be able to hit shots, especially power drives that are at the target and not overdrawing too much. So this is how I set it up. 1 for here, 1 for here. So 1 path, 1 contact, 3 power. That's going to give me a 91 overall power with the driver, an 85 overall contact, and an 88 path. I've been driving the ball pretty well with this, and this is where I plan on keeping my stats for the driver. Now let's talk irons and woods. Irons and woods, this is how we're setting irons and woods up. We are going, like I said, power is very important when it comes down. Actually, irons, woods, and wedges are all going to be the same. So all 3 of these will be the same. 6, which is 1 fitting to power. Like I said, power is very important in spinning the ball and slowing it down and making sure you're hitting closer to greens. If you are putting 1 here, 81 is massively different than a 60, massively different than a 70, massively different than a 50. So we're putting 1 on power, and then we're going 2. So it's going to be 6, and then the second one on contact is only going to get it up to an 11 because it's going to be a +5. And then on putt path, you're going to do 1, which is 6, and then you're going to do a second one, which is +5. So this is my final stats for woods, wedges, and irons. All very good stuff. 93 path, 90 contact, 81 overall power. Now, if you find yourself like, I would test out, if you really want, take this one away and add 1 more power. That'll get you up to an 86. If you can manage an 85 contact, I would highly recommend getting an 86 power. But if you cannot manage that, I would highly recommend getting it up to a 90. So this is where the base stats are going to be. Play around with it a little bit once you get up to that level. 2 path, 2 contact, 1 power. And then lastly, all we have is putter because that covers woods, wedges, and irons. Putter, we are going to separate things a little bit differently here, where we're going 11, which is +6, and then a +5, which is going to get me up to a 78 putt weight. And then we're going to go 6 here, which is 1, which is going to get me up to a 79 putt path. Then we have 1 more fitting left, which is going to get me up to, we're going to go putt rhythm up to a 50. So this is where I know rhythm can play a part in it, especially at the higher levels. You can choose where you kind of want these and where you want to apply these. I would use your fittings to get certain things in certain categories. In time, I'm probably right out of the gates going to test this out at a 44 and see if I can still manage a putt rhythm at a 44. If that is the case, like I said, putt path is one of the most important attributes. Not putt path, putt weight is one of the most important attributes. If you can hit your putt weights consistently at a 70, then you're fine. Then you don't need this stat. But I especially the longer ones like the 30 footers, the 40 footers, and the way that they tune transition, you need to make sure that you are hitting your putt weight, your putt distance marker consistently. So I'm going to either float 6 here, or I'm going to take that and I'm going to throw a 5 more here, which is going to get me up to an 83 putt weight. We're going to determine that at a later date. But that is pretty much the build for the actual attributes and how we're setting it up. Now let's talk about how I have my skill tree set up for this actual build. All right, we've changed it up. This season, we have changed it up. The approach shot, I've been getting really good with the power drive because I have such high stats now. So I've equipped the power drive for whenever the fairway's massive, I'm getting about an extra club length. So instead of hitting 7 irons, I'm hitting an 8 iron. Instead of hitting a 5 iron, I'm hitting a 6 iron. Instead of hitting a pitching wedge, I'm hitting a 50 degree. So it does do about a club length distance of beneficial factors for you. So this is how we have it set up. Skip through the stinger, and then we do not put anything on the rhythm category because not doing this across the board allows me to save and get 3 of the big T skills, or not just T skills, but skills. Max out the approach because you use that shot the most. Max out the pitch, you use that shot a lot. Skip through the runner so that way you can get the spinner shot. Skip the rhythm aspect of it because, like I said, I have no issues with rhythm. But even if you do have issues with rhythm, I highly recommend doing it in the attributes section and still not putting it here for the actual skills. All right, going through here, I don't do anything to punch. I really don't use it that much. And when I do use it, I really don't think it's that hard to hit. I don't need anything towards it. Max out the flop, max out the super flop. The recovery shot, I'm 50-50 on. I use it sometimes. I haven't found it to be the best all the time. Still, I might take this away in time and see where I can apply points elsewhere, but it can be good out of certain lies. Bunker, this is one of the big changes. I did not use the power pick a single time. I used it one time last season. We're going to go with blast this season, see if we use it a little bit more. Don't really fully expect to use it because this pick shot is so good still. The splash shot is so good still. But we are going to flip and go the other route. Really not that big of a deal if you don't want to respec just for that. I really don't assume that I'm going to be using it that much. Shots around the green. We got fully maxed out chip, fully maxed out putt. Skip through the runner section. Skip through the Texas wedge section. And then you can max out your green reader. And if you are wondering, as always, like how I have all of these other ones, I have an 85 version of all of the characters, so I'm able to get all of them for my magician build. Clubhouse pass, high spinner, fully maxed out. I completed the season pass. This season is the long flop. I will be getting that one in time. We'll see how that goes to a later video. That's season 2's build. I hope you guys like it. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay tuned. Technician build. How to fix your rhythm. A lot of videos coming up the pipeline. We'll see you in another. Peace.